Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Power of Selling in the COVID World breakout session. I'm Kim Phillips of Howard Hughes Corporation and Howard Hughes.
Yay, Howard Hughes Corporation.
Sponsor this event and the partner of the Woodlands Area Chamber of Commerce. So I have the great honor of introducing our guest speaker, Mr. Steve Berry with Voice Connections. Steve located his family to the Woodlands from Folsom, California in 2012 as part of the Voice Connections corporate move and hasn't looked back a single day. In his role as corporate sales training and development manager, he is responsible for the training and development of over 400 Voice Connections North American sales force. Steve became Selling Magazine's Wizard of Voice, beating out such notables as U.S. Steel and American Express. Joining Voice Connections founders Ron Middlestat and his former BFI sales manager in 2010, Steve started in sales training trifecta, sales bootcamp, negotiate success, and strategic selling. With 2,000 plus sales graduates and Voice Connections Online University logging in 5,500 plus employees and counting, Steve is always in a continuous improvement mode, especially now in the COVID-19 crisis, as he transitions to Zoom trainings with creative curiosity. Please welcome Steve Berry.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, and thank you for that introduction. Special thanks to the Howard Hughes Corporation, Jim back there, for this beautiful room that we're in today. Did you guys donate this? Is that how it works? Or just a sponsor? You're the sponsor. Okay. All right. Do you want to mic me up here? Is that okay? Yeah. Put a little thing on me there. Good. All right. That way my hands are free. So that goes over there. Yeah. It's kind of falling apart. That's okay. Okay. Man, I feel like I'm on like G. Kimmel or something. It's awesome.
The Hernandez Show.
The Hernandez Show? All right. All right. Testing, you can hear me, you can hear me twice, so no big deal. First of all, I did bring the slide, but I'm just gonna, oh, there we go. So, well, there we go.
Okay.
All right. Testing. There we go. I put that up there because we're all live. You know, first of all, it's funny because everybody's wearing pants. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. I'm not seeing any pajamas here at the bottom, which is nice. And by the way, so excuse me, but there's no clue in there, is there? Maybe. How sometimes we could have done the just for taking part. Thank you for that Starbucks card. Yeah, it's really nice. I know we have some people on Zoom, but it sure is nice to be back live again. And this is my first training actually in about 18 months. So it's good to be live. First of all, you heard a little about who I am, Voice Connections, Wizard of Waste. But the other thing is I do develop training for 400 plus salespeople. And the whole key to this is, we hear back from the field what's going on from an instant level, from the Northeast to the Northwest, Canada, and we hear what our salespeople are encountering, how we kind of work to develop programs to help them. And so that's kind of who I am. And what I'm going to share with you today, first of all, I'm just letting you know, it's not a sit back and relax class, okay? Because we're going to participate. You're going to participate. You're going to role play, very easy role plays. But you're going to learn. I originally had 3 things because they always tell you the law of 3, right? Well, I couldn't get in, so I'm going to give you an extra one because in sales, we always love to give somebody extra. So this is during COVID, I wrote our boot camp manual. So this is our sales boot camp manual. And then I worked on power selling. And this was kind of a response to COVID. And this was where we got our salespeople to use more the phone. I know sometimes people are like, oh, the phone. But I'm telling you, it's one of the greatest tools. Email, how you design email campaigns. Texting. So once you establish that customer relationship, you can't just text coldly, but when you establish that customer relationship, people like to text nowadays. There's generations they don't want to even talk to you. And the idea of texting, we actually get some of our agreements signed over texting. It's becoming very powerful for us. And of course, Zoom, and I think we've all gotten used to it. And we can see it as actually somewhat of a good sales tool. I mean, we just had a Zoom yesterday for IT. One of our people here is presenting to our chief information officer. And it was very casual to have them on Zoom and pull our chief information officer in just like that for 30 minutes. So very powerful tools. So I'm going to ask you here, how many people, raise your hands if you're in sales? Okay. All right, now I need everybody stand up. Everybody just come on, get up. This is a very interactive class. I know. Everybody stand up. Okay. I'm just going to tell you right now, you're all in sales. You're all in sales. Okay. Everybody here is in sales. Raise your hand again. You're all in sales. Okay, good, good. So you can sit back down now. Because no matter if you think you're in sales or not in sales, you're always selling. Always selling. And you always have to have things in your back pocket. And that's some of the things I'm going to tell you about here. As we know, a lot has changed in the last, by the way, my count is 602 days since we kind of shut everything down. It's like unbelievable. But, you know, we've learned to change, all right, from our sales perspective. I mean, how many people have bought groceries online now? How many people? Yes. How many got alcohol? Like, no. Okay. I mean, who would ever think you would get alcohol to go, right? You know, and then I don't even need to ask you this question because we all know we've been buying a heck of a lot of stuff on Amazon, right? And thanks to all you Amazon buyers, our recycling has gone up exponentially because the cardboard has just been like through the roof, and we're getting good prices now. So that's positive about that. So a lot has changed, but a lot has remained the same. But we still have to fine tune our skills. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these handouts. So this is, I took this and made this for our class today. So the normal Power Selling book has a lot of in it, but there's other things in here. So I think if you just hand out like one group, we can pass it down. There's a lot more in our Power Selling book, but obviously it's geared to trash. But what I did is put this in there for you to go home, maybe to look at. There's some powerful little steps that you can use in here that can help you when you're selling. Okay? Some very powerful ones, and we're going to go over to a couple of them in this. I call this tantalizing. This is our first thing we're going to learn. Okay, this is, remember everybody called the elevator pitch? Remember that? Yeah, well, think about this. You don't get in elevators and start talking to people anymore, right? You're more in the corner. And you're like, get away from me, you know, okay, I'm just pushing a button with my arm or to tap in the thing or whatever. So I call it the elevator pitch. Okay, and this is where we're going to work together. So you're a group. You're a group, you're a group, you're a group, some groups back there, you two, get a group. What was that? Two. You get two in the group, all right? And this is gonna how it's working. Now, when you tell and introduce who you are, you're a group, I want you to introduce yourself, right, your company. But what the key point about this is what the benefit is to that person, right? That's the key point, not just, you know, I'm Steve Berry, Waste Connections, I sell trash service. What is the benefit that you're going to give to that person? Now, the person, the customer, you're going to play along with this. All right, so you're the customer. Like, for example, okay, so Michelle, you're at Stripe. So you pipeline services, right? So Courtney, you are very interested in pipeline services. Very interested. So, and then when you introduce yourself, just introduce yourself, but what benefit, Michelle, do I have working with you? What does Stripe do over here? What can you do for us?
Help deliver our clients' assets to their endpoint.
That's good enough. That's perfect.
Service.
Perfect.
One-stop shop.
Exactly. So that is, because remember, Courtney, it's always about what's in it for you. You know, it's always about what's in it for you. You know, that's what it's about. So you have to, Michelle, think what's in it for Courtney. And so that's what you're going to say. So what I want you to do, might just take a couple seconds, just introduce yourself, your company, and then what do you think, what's the benefit that your company can offer them? You know, like I put down here for us is reducing costs or, you know, increasing their financial gains if you're a financial company or delivering a great product or service, if your rights right over here, or Stibbs and Company, you know, legal, all that. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna switch, okay? So then the other person becomes a salesperson. So we're just gonna take like 5 minutes, and I want you to introduce yourselves to each other and give them the elevated pitch, okay? There you go.
I manage all the coordination and small. And I do my training. Well, I have a background in psychology and my expertise was working with so I learned a lot of techniques and strategies to reduce anxiety, also mindfulness, teaching them how to really see the company the way it is versus the way they look at. Yeah, I mean, it's the way I mean, there's the quantification part of that. It's not that I give a specific thing, it's just something that you can naturally just comes with the practice.
Alright, see, you guys are salespeople already. Salespeople love to talk and chat. And so everybody do that, did you flip it? Oh, you haven't flipped it, okay, alright, well, I will give you another 2 minutes, so go ahead. Just love to talk, go ahead.
That's fine. I get a lot of reaction.
All right. Okay. You guys did a great job. All right. So remember, in your elevated pitch, make sure you have this in your back pocket at all times, when you do that, okay? Now we're gonna move on to one more thing. There's another nugget. I call it the referral mindset. Okay? And this is where you're talking to a very satisfied customer. This is where you're talking to somebody in the chamber and they're very interested about what you do, what nonprofit you're with, whatever this is. And at that point, you always keep this in your mind, park or when you go away, or even in an email or a phone message. Hey, do you know anyone else who could benefit from my blank services? You know, if you keep that little mindset in there. Now, granted, the way it works, probably, let's say maybe 10 to 20% of people will say, yeah, I do know somebody, okay? But remember, sales is a game of numbers. And so you just want to keep juicing that to get as much as you get possible. Now, true story, like I mentioned, I talk to a lot of our executives and our regional vice presidents. And I ask them from a sales perspective, I say, how do people get a hold of you? You know, everybody's, yeah, exactly. You know that. You're laughing because it's true. You know what? I'm gonna give you service for being so entertained. There you go. Good job. Good job. I like that. So I asked them, I say, you know, because we have vendors left and right trying to get a hold of us, you name it, they're all over. And so they said, Steve, it's who I get the referral from. Right? So what I'm saying is, when you ask for that referral from somebody, keep that in mind at all times. Just make it like a, you know, while brushing your teeth. You always make sure that person is in your line for email. Hey, Sally Smith from such a recommended I talked to you. Joe Schmo from, you know, blah, 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 nonprofits that I stop by and say hello. Add that in there and it boosts your chances of seeing, talking with them, whomever. And that's how I put our CIO together with a big IT company in the Woodlands Chamber, just literally yesterday. So keep that in mind, referral. So what I'm gonna do, now remember, we have another role play. So I want you to get back with your person. This time, when we pair you up, whoever has the newest car goes first. Whoever has the newest car, and if you have a new car, you're very lucky. So I'm just letting you know. I'll buy it for $10,000 over MSRP. So anyway, I want you to start off, salesperson. You know, JJ Holly mentioned I should stop by and talk to you about your blah, blah, blah. And then I want you to practice your elevated sales pitch again. You know, practicing makes perfect. So practice your sales pitch again. And again, use that. And then we'll switch it around for the other person. So it should just take a couple minutes to try that. So what I want you to do, and you can come up with a name, whatever it is, but make sure that whatever you're selling to the other person is what they're selling or what their nonprofits invested in or something like that. So I want you to use this referral right now. So go ahead. Get together, remember who has a new car goes first.
So Bill told me to send me your way and talk to you. Bill Nye, science guy. I'm not familiar with coordination. Well, there's a lot of research to show owners of companies constantly coordinating that's right. And you have, the owner, yourself has requests, you can let me know, and I'll make sure it's taken care of. So you can go down to business. No, it's fine. I'll see you. I work out the other company. HR, finance, and behind the scenes, which was hard to adjust to, because nobody knows. And so every month, and I don't see he's often I can choices. You want to know about problems with your house. So I'll have meetings with you, just so you know. During the sales process at the beginning, we have meetings every day. They can see them also. One of our vendors, I spend time learning this. So I don't sell for anybody. It's all intention. It's all integrity based. I have made my vendors sign things. But if they don't need I've done this for a while, and I probably turned it and I just think we know her and you can really use the painting. And I've been calling all my clients, they want to do that. So I talk to people and I talk about topics. I have done and I can but I talk about like my last speech was about
All right. We are back. We're getting this all down. Good.
Language was supposed to be how we expressed our emotions. Now it's how we
Anybody have a good story?
Never get that.
All right.
Because they don't know which situation. Because we're raining, you tell them.
Okay, okay. We're bringing you in. Hey, buddy. Okay. Who knows the meaning of math? Who can tell me what math? Math. When someone says math. There you go. What is it, right? What was that? No, like you're drinking your coffee and you're like, there you go, there you go. I've seen it here. This could be an East Coast thing. I'm from Florida. What is that? Yeah, there you go. Congratulations. Absolutely. So I told you I've been doing this just a little while, and we used to put a big wall here and say, what is your #1 sales call challenge? You know, is it price? Is it, you know, getting a hold of decision makers, making commitments, all that stuff. Well, our number one, which was all the time, the number one sales call challenge, you know, was when you're trying to get out there and are happy with our current customer. You know, I've been a loyal blah blah for so many years. My son and friends work for them. I don't have time to change. This is what we get when we're out there, okay? And that's the number one sales call challenge. And so what we need to do is figure out how to overcome that. Now, when I was untrained in sales, I used to take my business card and go, well, if you ever need, you know, must was trash service, you know, give me a call, you know, blah, 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 and walk away. And that's what I did for a number of years and didn't do very well in sales. Yeah. And then I took the sales training with a company called BFI. It was a trash company a long time ago. And I took that sales training and they showed us how to overcome that. And that's what I'm going to train you on. It's very easy, very, very easy. So remember, these are the, I call them the mechanisms. That was mine. I came up with that. So here's what we do. Step one, once you introduce, and remember, this is a sales call. You're on a sales call, you're trying to get with them, you meet them here at the chamber. And they're like, oh, you know what, I'm really happy with my bank or my financial planner or whatever.
Do you hear that, Paco?
Yeah, you hear that? Paco, I was looking at you. I was looking at you, Mr. Forrest. I was looking at Paco. Yeah, I'm happy with my bank. The first thing I want you to do, everybody take your hand, put it to your heart. Okay? I call this an acknowledgement statement. This means you're listening to them, all right? This means you're listening to them. You just don't start blaring off. I call it spoiling. You don't do that. The first thing is, you know, you use one of the, okay, you can take your hand up there, Zach. That's good. Good job. Man, Zach's on top of it. All right, so the first thing you do is, you know, I can appreciate that. Or they say, I really don't have that time. Well, time is a valuable commodity. Or they bring up the fact they've had them for 20 years. Well, customer loyalty is important. My favorite one that always works, is wise and cautious. You know, it shows you're listening to them. I'm not going to say no, but what I want you to do is the next step is the key step. And that's where you say, hey, you just have like a few minutes. I'd like to talk to you about how we have done such and such and such for somebody else. Like we've sold your house, Zach. We've sold your house in less than 60 days and got full asking price and all that stuff. And what you do is you just try to get that approval because I just don't want you to go out there, tell them who you are, and they're like, oh, you don't really have time for that. While you're doing face-to-face or even on the phone, just give them that acknowledgement statement and do your best. Does it work all the time? No, probably maybe 30, 40% of the time. But people nowadays are kind of like, hey, somebody's actually going to want to talk to me and just did not just walk away. So as I say, you just ask them for a few minutes at a time, and then you start exploring, you know, how's your bank, has your bank done da 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 da, or do you have a key person in your bank? Or they're like, well, no, I don't, and you know, I've never talked to anybody, and you know, by the way, my statements are kind of screwed up, and I can't get a loan, and then you start identifying what's really important to them. And that's what you turn around, okay? So, and then at the end, again, don't forget, even if they say no, oh, you know, I really don't, or let's do it next week, always ask for that referral. By the way, do you know anybody else who could benefit our financial services? Again, you're gonna maybe get 10 or 20% of the people saying, oh, I do know somebody, or because they might feel guilty that they turned you down, right? I turned them down, but I mean, I can give her, you know, something, you know, maybe I'll throw them a bone, right? And so that's where you get that referral, and or you just hop on it right away. I was just speaking to such and such, and she recommended you, blah, 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 blah. And that's how that works, okay? Ah, look at this, one more quick role play. All right, the person with the most pets goes first as a salesperson. So
I have no pets.
the worst the most pets, and if you have no pets, then you'll just have to judge. But what I want you to do is let the salesperson introduce himself, but customers, the first thing off the bat, you just hit them with, and however, I'm happy with my blah, 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 blah. I'm happy with my pipeline company. I'm happy with my bank. And then as salesperson, I want you to give that, ready to say, I can appreciate that, or, you know, time is a valuable commodity, or whatever you come up with, it's wise to be cautious. But let me show you how we have done dot, 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 dot. And I want you to get into that mindset. And then at the end, make sure you ask for a referral. So go for it. One more time. Come on. One more time. Told you we were gonna make it work here.
What actually called it? No, yeah, I like this. So the business was always, it was always. Yes, I know, actually, I see that all the time.
The brain works kind of passes. You're the one who I do it all the time. But I just want to point out to you guys.
So you gotta be. My first career was like well, she did it all. And then the next thing is over business world. The business are actually.
Yeah, salespeople
Yeah.
are able to.
Yeah.
I was in the most of my life, but I think so I can't tell about here. So I just moved to learn how to get it. But I know I can't tell. Working at artistic, you know how to be careful about space. I worked in a residential where you got too close. Well, I worked also in psychology. I worked a lot with people with done a lot of ADHD, autism, it's fascinating. There's focus on it. It's hard to find it. And you learn a lot about talking to someone that they just don't understand. And I learned a lot. Because most other people are playing games. It's a show about stuff. So everybody's puts on a character. And everybody has your autism.
Once you see what you have. Very much.
All right, we are coming back. I love it when everybody gets excited. It makes, I mean, the time is flying by, right? We're picking up some things, a couple of little niceties. You know, it's funny, I was just talking right now with somebody in real estate. I won't mention their name, exactly, but, you know, and he even said, you know, I need to get that referral mindset back again. Get that pipeline going, And that's exactly what this is about. A lot of times, so Ron Middlestat was founder of Waste Connections. Some of you might know him. He was one who brought us over from California here. And Ron and I go super way back. Like, I don't even want to show you the picture of me and Ron because he looks the same, I don't. But you know, his mentality was sales. He was my sales manager way back in the day at BFI. And he always said, Steve, it's like taking a shower. You have to refresh yourself. You know, and I'm just letting you know, I put that in the guide. When we get hit with so much like not fun information all the time, it's always good to refresh yourself with positive things. There's great sales training on YouTube, on TikTok. There's some really, I've actually got some great stuff from TikTok. I'm just telling you right now. But this one's not. This is it. This is the last thing we're going to train on today. And I call it the last gem. Okay, this is the last gem. And I need everybody's support on this. So I'm gonna ask you to say the word any. Any. Customer. Concern. So any customer concern. And that could be anything. For us, it could be about price. It could be about delivery, quality, fees, commission rates, whatever it is. The customer comes to you and says, you know, your price is too high. Okay. Now, herein lies the problem. Because we've been in the business and we know what's the best, right? We're assuming what we think they're talking about. And that's what we're not supposed to do. Because you don't know if it's this price or that price, or is it a delivery fee, or is it whatever? You don't know. You don't know. So here is what I want you to do. It's very, very simple. The first thing you do, we're all going to do, is take a deep breath. You pause. So when someone hits you with, you know, Michelle, your pipelines are just too expensive. You know, don't rush out there and go, you know, don't do that. We get hit all the time. Steve, I don't deal with waste management, all right? Well, we're not waste management, we're Waste Connections, but I don't run out there and say that I want to pause, take that deep breath, and then I ask them this question. And you can modify it however you want. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Can you tell me a little more about that? That's all you have to do. You can change it. Can you expand upon that? Whatever it is, because at that point, they are going to tell you what their real need is. That's the key. And there might be multiple ones, but I just don't want you rushing out. Okay? So let's go back. Do this again. Last gem. Get ready. I'm going to count three. Any customer concern. Take a deep breath. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Okay, all right, you got it. Now, one last time, because I want you to get back in, and you can have decide whoever goes first, to the salesperson, but the customer's gonna say, I'm really concerned about your blank, your price, your this, your that. And then I want you as a salesperson to start off with your elevated pitch, then your customer has that concern, then take that deep breath, and all you're gonna say is, well, can you tell me a little bit more about that? And customer makes stuff up, you have fun with this, we just call it, everybody put their arm out like this. Wing. Yeah, you're doing a great job, and you gotta start with credit for that. You guys are good wingers. So just wing it. I usually don't like to do that sales, but I tell people, so just wing it. So again, salesperson start off with a pitch, customer like, I have a concern about X, Y, Z. So whatever that is, it goes banks going under, you're not funded by the F, whatever it is, FICA, or poor Paco, Paco, I'm just picking on you, but just for picking on you, you get a Starbucks. That's poor Paco's right in the middle, right in the middle. But I want you to get into that idea of not just jumping out there. I want you to take that deep breath and tell me about that.
You don't have a total line limit set, do you?
No. Personally, I would, but the company does not let me expense that. But you know what? Good for asking. I'll give you another one. You already got one. So, but that's good. I like that. All right. So everybody, give this a try. I want that. Give your pitch, and then all of a sudden, boom! Stop them right in their tracks. Okay, with any kind of concern, and then I want the salesperson, take that deep breath. Give that acknowledgement statement. Well, I can appreciate that. It's wise to be cautious. And then we'll tell me a little bit more about that. Okay, so there's a couple steps. You can mix and match however you want to do it, but I just want you to get hit with that and then see how you deal with it. Okay, this is the last one because we're going to be done with that. 5 minutes. Okay, go for it. Yeah, maybe come up with a new pitch.
Well, the nice thing about it, all the vendors help bring to your company 10+ years. So we're all small companies, small businesses. Expand their market areas. My company, the instrumentation side, we're not providing any services. No, that makes sense if you only do one search. Well, if it comes to the point where no, yeah, you want to make sure you're getting the right. It really depends on the person. If you're wanting to do all the coordination and all yourself, and you want to call those people, then they talk to you CPAs, making sure they can make statements, making sure that they have all the points. If you have the time, that's a good way to do it.
It's actually there's someone else. $10 an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Like, paying someone to do this, you pay them, you're back. See, my thing is I stayed in eventually I'd like to self-franchise. We got it for a year. As much as money to sell. You get it's really not hard to do. There's no days off, no sick days. It's fine. And your CPAs that means because that happens a lot. They tell everybody, we're out of money. And a lot of those people know that there's problems. Nobody wanted to tell you that. And the tech guy, the guy came up to him.
All right.
And as I go to
All right, we are live. We are, I mean, did we breeze by that? You guys, give yourself a round of applause. I learned that too. I just want to recap, power selling. Again, get your elevated pitch, or you can write it down, use different versions of it. Don't forget your referral mindset at all times. Come up to me and say, hey, do you have anybody that you know? Overcoming the Met, remember that, how to overcome the Met, review that. And then most important ones are customer concerns. Most important ones are customer concerns. None of the spray and pray, just like make sure you ask that very easy question. And I guarantee you, if you just take one or two of these things, because I'm just happy if you took one or two, I think it would boost everything that you do in close sales. So congratulations. We have one bit of wisdom on the big 10 lasso. Who's the 10 lasso fan out there? So this is a Tedism or a lassoism. It says if you're comfortable while doing it, you're probably doing it wrong. And what I'm saying is some of you are uncomfortable doing some of this today, but you were doing it right. So just remember that you did a great job. Make sure you give me 5 stars on Google. But thank you very much for coming. I hope you got something you can take away and use in your real life. So thank you very much.